Hello and welcome, as it is the 9th day of March 2018. My name is Derek. Everything you do, like always, your own risk, own reward. Litecoin in at the key Fibonacci level at 175 US. Let's start off by taking a look at coin market cap. There's only one winner in the top 100. Bitcoin down 8.5%, Litecoin down 3.67%. That's almost a winner given this market, as is NEM. Practically break even, but a lot of 7, 9, 10% down moves. As we move deeper, we're now seeing a dozen percent down, 14% becoming normal, but a lot of 8 still in the mix. And we're not seeing any green up days, not even close. Loop ring is up 0.75%. And a lot of codes down 8, 10, 12% area. Singularity net up 0.8%. And the only winner is Bitcoin, 92nd rank of the top 100, up 10.5%. So let's adjust this and show how this looks against the price of Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is always going to end at 0 because its price is always 1. But we're seeing, again, more reds than we are greens. And the result for a lot of the reason why the codes are down 9, 12, 15% against the dollar is because Bitcoin has the extra few percent on top of that. So most codes today are in that of a downtrend. So back to the Litecoin chart against the US dollar, and the fact that it has a day looking like this when the dollar is falling, you can state is really productive, all things considered. The price has fallen below this 18 average after amazing resistance at this level. Question is, are we going to get amazing support from this point? Usually it pierces extra. This is definitely what I'd be looking for as a area for a bottom, or where a key low rather would be, as there's so many of them. A key low is like down here up to the 18. So therefore, yes, I would be very curious to see what happens on a move moving forward back to this level, as the 18 average is going to be the next big test. Now, as far as some shorter term time frame, when we look at this on a 1-hour chart, I was showing this earlier with Bitcoin, and it's just in such a large downtrend that it's got a lot of work just to get past this 18, which Litecoin has already done. Well, Bitcoin's over 9 now, so it's barely trying to break out at this stage. So it's having its it's having its first test since back in here within the 18. But the Litecoin price against the US dollar has already had some periods, hours rather, holding and staying above this, which is really magnificent, because you have this push up on the 7 o'clock hour, and it has followed through green sideways from that move, and now it is just breaking out past that level of resistance. And if you're looking at this on a 15-minute time frame, you're seeing this have a nice move come back to support, breaking through this resistance. Hey, why not another leg higher? We'll wait and see. This is the Litecoin price against Bitcoin, and it's in at the 196 handle. It's also at a major key Fibonacci level that I've been looking at. There's a lot of lines on here. When we take a look at this on, say, a 400-minute time frame, it's a very, very interesting pattern from here, as the major support, which was tested well on the 19th. It was tested well again on the 22nd of February. And it fell through here, and it's made this little bowl-shaped formation now back to this line. I look at this almost as in, okay, this is what bear markets usually would do, in that you come back to the key level. This is an area where you oftentimes can find resistance, and you break lower. But that'd be a failed move almost too, because here we have the band flattening nice, this couple of periods in here getting above, having successful support, now lifting off past resistance, and it has been holding well within this mark. So I would expect that there's a better chance that this would be that of a failed breakdown, and we would have at least a move relatively quick to the 212 handle. And then, of course, if it doesn't, then what's going to be big is the 61.8% Fibonacci from, well, whatever this high happens to be right now, where it is at now, about 196, and this key low at 179 and this 18 average, because it's now finally got this 18 rolling higher. So if there's going to be any type of selling, you got a little bit of people noticing they can get some small profits, that because they bought down here. Maybe people were holding here, they were realizing, oh man, I should have sold. Now they can sell at the price they were going to before. So a lot of those types of sellers will come in. That will bring the price down just marginally lower enough where you're oftentimes going to find support in areas like the 18 average. I want to next go over OK Cash. I've talked about this a little bit recently, and I've been mentioning this level here at 2,641 major Fibonacci support, which obviously worked tremendous in conjunction with the resistance above it. And as we've seen this move, which occurred on the 18th of February, how price action broke below, spent several days below this key level. It had a very good rally attempt up to this 34 area, well above the 18 average of highs. But notice how this band reacts after the correctionary move. You have the red candle down afterwards. That is very normal, both bullish and bearishly. Then this little move here didn't hold the gain, so concerns starting to roll in. Followed through that with a small bearish candle. Small because it came down the 18 lows, but it did rally within the end of the session. But then it followed through with this red down day. Eek, yeah. And then you have these 2 days, so how can you be surprised that you see it leaving the 18 average of lows as it is, while this entire run has been basically resisting for the last 3 weeks or close to it. So we take a look at this on a longer term time frame, and this chart would look much better and more, but not as bearish on the log scale on Bittrex or TradingView even, anything with a proper log function. But as we're seeing the resistance and how Fibonacci works so amazing within both of these two key levels, I would not be shocked, not even the slightest, if this thing over the next, what are we looking at, maybe 6, 7 periods even, so the next 3 weeks even, to lose around two-thirds its value and fall very close, probably piercing below and near the 750 handle. Of course, if this thing doesn't go down much more at all, say hold somewhere around 1650 to 1700, so it can go down another 400 basis points or 20%. If it doesn't go down much more in that nature, and then you have the quick move back to this Fibonacci and it holds and even shows some nice momentum thereafter, then this would be, I would think, that of a failed breakdown. But it does show to me that the probability odds of this thing losing close to two-thirds of its value compared to basically the same distance as going up to this high, that's less than 3x. So I think there's a much better chance right now it sees 757 before it sees 57 and a quarter. But a lot of this is going to go within conjunction of the entire market structure, which has not shown anything as of yet that the altcoins as a group or community are going up. But if and when that occurs, and if price action is on its way down, say 1650, then you can get a good indication that that the market probably should bottom here, and we'll see some spectacular gains because we look at the moves from June of last year. It's in this 18 average around 1250, and then it has a nice move up to about 8600. A nice like 5x gain, but even bigger here. It falls all the way down here to about 1200, and then it rallies up to about 20,000. That's about a 16x gain. So there's a lot of monstrous volatility within this particular code. Quick look at IOC. On the daily chart here, it had this failed rally attempt on February 26, and we have another failed one that occurred on March the 2nd. So a decent move from the 16 change handle up to the 22, and then several down days in a row. But this big day here on the 7th, on Wednesday, it closed right near the 18 average of lows, and yesterday's session it just dangled within that area. So not a surprise again that we see markets like this. Now, this is an interesting situation because you look at this, you're like, oh boy, we're looking at another leg lower. Before we had key support in at 22.9, and when it broke down below that, it had came from a lot of red candles down and continued with more red candles down. They're not always going to work out the same, but we can see that there is most certainly a realistic shot that this is going to have another leg lower. Just quickly looking, you'd have to think most conservatively around the 14,000, maybe a bit lower, and even down to the previous low at about the 10,000 handle. When you look at this on a shorter term time frame, like even the 2-hour chart, it's an interesting dilemma because this is way oversold on the 2-hour, as it would have been before in that last example when it continued to go down. But it also brings us to a situation where it's just new news, rather, that this thing had its opportunity to get going. It told the story that it was going to do something, and it didn't do it. Failed move, fast move, opportunity or situation may be coming into play. Same thing with BLK, Blackcoin. Amazing support and resistance amongst these two numbers at the 3,200 and 4,700 levels. And after a move to this previous point, it corrects well originally from the 18 as it had this move on the 6th, but it came back in here, which is fine. 2 days after that, showing weakness, and obviously now a move down to the 18 average of lows. If this thing gives in, we'd be looking at a failed move, and most likely, just like before, two areas, just a regular key leg lower, you're probably looking at about 2,500, and then the previous low is in at about 1,780. Ant or Aragon showing a lot of the similar strategies as well. Great support here, and then it consolidates within the 18, has a move above here, but look at how the 18 has reacted. Red candle down, okay, no problem. Another follow through, little concerned, but if it's bullish, you're probably not going to get a day like it is now, although we did. So it's back down to the 18 average of lows. So if you have a day where it just does nothing afterwards, like a day after, or you're not getting any type of rally attempts, you see weakness below, we're at another test of this level. If it breaks it, I wouldn't be surprised if over whatever short to medium period of time, it comes down to the 20 handle. And then you got coins that are actually looking good. I showed Unbreakable on the 4-minute morning. I'm not going to show it here. And this is a situation where you have a tremendous gain and then several red periods down, but it doesn't even get anywhere near the 18 average of lows. Thus, it gives back a reasonable amount that you would expect. But what's interesting is you have a green candle up day, which got followed through with more, well, bullish to non-bearish behavior, and it's still just correcting these moves sideways. That's like a magnificent thing. There was major resistance at the start of the year, roughly at around the 71,000 handle. You could even say even close down to 60, but I would like to see this hold probably 63, 65, up to 71. So if there's any further moves down and it's just not going to go up soon, then that would be bullish setups continuing on. And we got practically every code just falling. So when you see situations of the rare coins doing very well, Salus, Unbreakable, Litecoin, then you have to wonder, okay, do they have something up their sleeve? What's going on at this moment that is having buyers come into the market and no major wave of sellers? So I don't follow the fundamentals, but I do realize in situations like this going on, it doesn't surprise me if there is good fundamental news brewing within this. There might be buy the rumor, sell the news afterwards, but I do think that there's it's an interesting situation because I could just take a look at a random code like SWT, Swarm City Token, which after a move in here with the band flattening out, okay, we got to move down to the 18 average of lows. If it starts to continue weakness, especially if it can hold and stay below this lower area for a little while, or even have its move down to 17, then this thing looks like it might be ready for a leg lower. Let's talk about Gambit next. We're looking at this on a daily time frame. So we had this level of key support in here, which had this interesting spot. Green candle up, and then all of this red down, breaking below. So failed move, fast move. Is it, well, it's already a key leg lower. Is it a buying opportunity? Well, let's take a look at this on a 3-day chart. Well, it's coming close to previous lows. Maybe it's got a little bit of extra downside, but let's even take a look at this on the weekly. I got a line in at 40,000. When you look at this chart on a on the Bittrex exchange or coin market, this would look a lot more bullish than it actually does. This is a poor logarithmic scaling. But we've had a situation in this where you have a beautiful rally from pretty much the first 3 quarters of 2016, and then it goes down, creates a lower high, and goes down. Okay, this went up, created this higher low, like this higher low, then it went up, like this went up, then this went down, like this went down. So the next level of support is at the previous low at about 85. There might be small amounts along the way, but if 85 doesn't hold, I'd be looking for a play at 41. But that's the whole point about this. If you go to previous low after a lower high, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to be the end of it, because that's what that looked like back then. So thank you for tuning into this video, and have yourself a magnificent day. Bye-bye.